What is going on, you guys? AK40 Kevin here in the Gamer Heaven, and today I want to talk a little bit about Days Gone and how it is now experiencing that game in late or mid to late 2020 at the end of the PlayStation 4's life cycle. Did they fix a lot of the glitches, bugs, and issues that the game had initially? And what core fundamentals that game really did get right? Let's get it. Days Gone has gone through a lot of changes since April 26, 2019 when it released. It's gone through several major updates and patches that fixed a lot of the major core issues with bugs, gameplay issues. They even revamped the controls, including analog stick dead zone, and added features like gyroscopic aiming if you want to use the 6-axis motion control in the controller. I don't know anyone that actually does that because it's not very intuitive, but hey, they added it. But I want to talk about how far the game has come and how what was really good originally just got better with all these updates. Is it a perfect game? No, I don't really believe any game's perfect, but this game is definitely far from perfect, but it definitely is a solid PlayStation 4 exclusive, as there are many, many of those. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and we're going to play a little bit of gameplay footage here. I did play through this game on PlayStation 4 Slim before I ended up streaming directly from my console. I've now streamed all of Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, stuff like that. Exclusives directly from the PS4. So I'm just going to be playing the E3 demo here for a little bit of background ambiance so you guys can watch that instead of just staring at my ugly mug the whole time. But I do want to cover some key points about the game. This is basically my comprehensive review, everything from how the game was launched to how it is now. So some of the major updates that the game has received are new difficulty modes, as a lot of people that are proficient in, third-person shooters were saying it was relatively easy. I personally had a lot of difficulty staying on target with this game, even after they updated the dead zones for the analog sticks. For some reason, I just couldn't be very accurate in this game, but hey, it is what it is. I was still able to play through it, even with my combat skills not being the best. They also added a really cool challenge mode, as well as some really interesting co-op modes and multiplayer modes, which is really, really fun. Like I said, they also made the controls a little bit smoother and more intuitive, editing the stick dead zones. They edited the bike damage, which used to take it'd be totaled out after you hit a pothole. So that was ridiculous. They definitely buffed up the bike's durability quite a bit, which is really good. I didn't really notice, I would bump into trees and stuff like that, and I didn't really have to repair the bike very often, which is good because in order to repair it, you do need to pull over and collect pieces of scrap and whatnot. Overall, I thought the audio design was a little bit lacking. Soundtrack, there really wasn't much of anything to talk about there. It just wasn't great. And then the audio design, as far as, the sounds that the Freakers made and stuff like that. There's a lot of other zombie games out there, like, the Clickers and Last of Us 2 and stuff like that just sound a lot more intense and scary. And, even the way the weapons sounded and everything didn't really sound all that great. Graphics are actually pretty good. Now, it's not it's not a very, very late title, but it is a later title. It did come out early to mid 2019, so it's not as pretty as the later releases like Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, but it does look pretty darn good. A lot of the textures and shading were actually pretty good, and I was playing on a PS4 Slim, so I'm assuming if you're playing on a Pro, it would probably look even better. The footage I'm playing right now is only in, I want to say 480 or something like that, because I downloaded the copy of the E3 gameplay just to make it a little bit easier for me to upload into this video here. So, obviously the graphics look a lot better than what you're seeing on screen here. Gameplay is actually really fun, though. Melee combat's not super in-depth or anything like that, but you are able to beat the ever-living shit out of zombies when they get close to you. I thought it was really cool that you could check hoods and trunks of pretty much damn near every vehicle. Riding the bike is absolutely awesome, and customizing the bike is just as fun. I thought, the motorcycle mechanics were really good. It's not like a simulation. It's more of an arcadey driving experience, like what you get in Grand Theft Auto or something like that, but it was pretty rewarding. I liked it. And the main story's okay. It's not super good. Basically, Deacon's just trying to find out what happened to his wife, if she's still alive and whatnot, and it's basically just him and his buddy Boozer going around. Boozer's injured, and they're just trying to, There's really nothing special there. The story I didn't think was really solid, but the gameplay is fun. The funnest part is the hordes, like as shown on the E3 demo right here on screen. There is literally hundreds and hundreds of zombies, and they're very fast moving, just like World War Z zombies. Yeah, they sprint at you, they can climb. It's pretty terrifying. I was actually pretty surprised. After the updates, they actually made the frame rate a lot smoother, because when there was a lot of action on screen before, it used to be a little bit glitchy and whatnot. It is still capped at 30 frames per second, which isn't great, but I mean, for the current consoles that we have right now, 30 frames is kind of the standard, and then 60 is a treat when we get that. But honestly, it's after the update, it seemed like they smoothed it out a lot to where the hordes could be on there really filling up the screen, and it would still be at a steady 30 frames per second. So that was nice that they were able to smooth that out. One thing I will say, besides the main story, which really isn't terrible, the side quests can get very repetitive and stale when you're basically just destroying the zombie nest over and over and stuff like that. It gets really repetitive, so some people are saying to crank the difficulty up, because forces you to play more tactically, and makes the engagements a lot more entertaining and challenging, I guess. But to me, it was kind of a grind to get those done, so I didn't even complete all the subquests or anything like that. I just focused on the main campaign. But all in all, I have to say, especially because this game is now, you can pick it up real cheap. Like, I think GameStop has it used for like 15 or 17 bucks or something. Might even be cheaper than that. It's definitely worth that. Like, I feel kind of bad for the people that purchased it for $60 brand new, because it wasn't really as polished as it is now, and now it's substantially cheaper. So if you are trying to build a library of PlayStation 4 exclusives, I think this should be in it. It definitely does earn a place amongst some of the great PS4 originals and exclusives, and it's not as good as Uncharted or Ghost of Tsushima or Spider-Man or God of War or any of those exclusives, but it is good, and it's still better than a lot of what Xbox has offered with their exclusives. Not bashing Xbox or anything like that, but they don't really have they've had some stinky stinkers out there, like Sea of Thieves and Quantum Break and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty decent game, guys. Definitely worth a pickup if you have not played it, or if you haven't played it since launch. Just pick it up again if it's sitting around, do the update, and play it now. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised. All right, guys. Peace.